Hi, this is a quick tutorial to show you how to set up or organize your course. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the difference between using the Learning Unit tool in Blackboard and not using the Learning Unit tool. Okay, so first let's just say something about the Learning Unit tool. This tool really is just designed so that your content within a unit or within a module or any content area can be organized and provide your students with a table of contents. When you don't use the Learning Unit tool, you don't have a table of contents. So what I'm going to do is show you the difference between these two. I have two buttons over here, and I just created these for the purpose of this tutorial. Okay, you can create your own button and put your Learning Unit anywhere you want. Okay, so the first thing I'll show you is what a Learning Unit looks like. If you remember from our course, our Faculty Online Certification course, you may recognize these little icons because we use these a lot in our course. We used learning units to design our course. Okay, so if you remember, when you click on here, you have this picture, and then you can scroll through the different pages of this unit, right, like this. Page 2, page 3, and there are 4 pages. Or, if you remember, you can click on the Contents button and see a list of all the activities here. Okay, and then you can click on each one individually if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main page here so I can give you a reference when I show you the next one. Okay, now this button I made a sample of an organization scheme without using a learning unit. So I'm going to click on here, and in this case they used folders. Now you can use folders within a learning unit as well. Okay, I think actually we do that in our course, in our Faculty Online Training course. But in this case, they did not use the learning unit, and this is what this looks like when you go into here. Okay, so in this way, remember how in the learning unit you had a table of contents, and you had that big picture up here with your little arrow that you scrolled through each page? When you set it up this way, you don't have that. Okay, you don't have page numbers, you don't have scrolls, you don't have a big picture, or you don't have contents. It looks just like this. So each one of these icons is a different content item that the instructor added. So here, these are the um, objectives, and these are the readings, and this is a web link, and then this is a test. Okay, so this looks quite a lot different, quite a bit different than the actual use of a learning unit. Okay, so remember, this is what this looks like. No contents, no arrow over here, and this is what your learning unit looks like when you click in. You have your contents, you have your picture here, and then you have your arrow button. I like to use learning units when I have a lot of information because it breaks it up for the student a little bit. You know, they can click on the contents and go to any item they want. If you do not use learning units, let me go back in here, and let's say the instructor had 10 items, and each item, you know, was rather long, then what you end up with is just a long stream of information. Now this is rather short here because these aren't full content items. This is just here for a sample so you can get the idea what it looks like. Okay, so now let me say something about why you would want to organize any material in a certain way in an online course. Um, when when you use Blackboard to supplement a face-to-face course, you might set it up quite a bit different than when you actually use it for an online course. In an online course, it's important for a student to be able to go to one area and find everything they need for that unit. So for example, this is the unit on drugs and attitudes. Student can go here, click into it, and everything they need for that unit is here, self-contained. What I mean by that is you have your objectives listed, you have your readings. In this case, I added a link. You could have an assignment listed in here. I have a quiz here. So the student doesn't have to go all over the course looking for all these different items. They can do it all here. You could list any number of things in here. If a student knows that week 1 you're working on module 1, then all they got to do is go here and everything that they need to do for that week is here. The same thing goes for this. This is just a different way to organize it as far as the tools that you use, but it's still all self-contained. So you have your module 1, you have your intro and objectives, you have your readings. In this case, there's a web link and then a test. And again, you could put whatever you wanted in here. And that's a little different than sometimes when instructors supplement their course using Blackboard, they might, instead of having it all contained in one area like this, you might notice that sometimes they'll have, for example, some course readings or course materials here. They might have a button that says tests where all the tests are listed, etc. Or they might have another link that says web links or external links. Okay, so the students have to go to all these different places. And sometimes that's okay in a face-to-face course because you may only be using Blackboard as a supplement for those types of things, you know, to store information or to give them their grades. But an online course, it helps if the student can go within each unit, you know, they can find everything they need. So that's just a little bit about organization. Let me show you now a couple different courses that use learning units and then one that doesn't use a learning unit. Okay, now these courses are provided for you as samples. You have access to them. You're all enrolled in them. So I recommend you look around a little bit in these courses as you're organizing yours. So for example, here's a course you might recognize. This is a geography course that you did your scavenger hunt in. If you notice here, she uses learning units, right? Here's this icon. This is the learning unit icon. And if you click on one of these, let's click on this one, you'll see, looks just like ours. You have your contents, okay, right? You have your page numbers. You can click through this sequentially like that, okay? So this is the use of a learning unit. And we're going to go to this next course here. This is an instructional design course that did not use learning units. So she organized it using just these folders. So I'm going to scroll down to this one, click on this because it has a couple items in it. And you can see, just like the sample earlier that I provided for you, you have a link here that the instructor has put in. She has 3 items here. One, she has a second item called to open an account, and a third to create a web page. Now, if this instructor had used a learning unit, okay, well she didn't, but if she did, then we would see, right, the table of contents up here. Sorry, we'd see table of contents here. We'd see the little arrow bar where we could scroll through the pages. Okay, so these are the 2 sample courses you have available to you. I recommend you go check them out, see which way you prefer to set up your course. And then if you want to use the learning unit, then check out the tutorial that is about learning units, and it'll walk through the steps of setting one of those up. And then likewise, there'll be another tutorial that'll just talk about using folders. Okay, so both ways will be demonstrated for you in a tutorial, and you can pick the one that best suits your needs. You might just mess around with both and see which one you like best. I think that's all for now. I'm Cindy Hay, and I hope this helps.